Hey YouTube, what is going on? Thanks for checking out the Straight SRT8 YouTube channel where we discuss all things SRT8 related. Now today is going to be our fifth and final year annual update. So for those of you who are new to the annual updates, I cover the entire cost of ownership, ranging from gas, insurance costs, maintenance, repairs, mods, etc. up to this point in time. So for me, it's been 5 full years. So right now we're at about 69,000 miles, again, 5 years of ownership. I'm going to get into all of the costs of the vehicle. And then towards the end, get into maybe some future upgrades and whatnot. So quick reminder, so for the costs, especially for a gas, for the first year, I took the cost, let's say in 2021, average that cost, and then average the cost of 2022, 2023, 2024. So I got the true cost of gas in those previous years factored in. Another quick tidbit information, I did start working remote about a year ago, so the mileage from year 4 to year 5 was pretty minimal. I think it was like 4,000 or 5,000 miles. So because of that, it's going to skew the numbers in more favor of a lower cost. So keep in mind, as you travel more, you're going to have a higher cost, of course, for gas, and that's going to affect your total cost of ownership. So that being said, in the past 5 years of ownership, spent $16,445 in gas. That's averaging, I think, 17 miles a gallon. So if you're driving a little bit slower in the summer months, maybe you're pushing 18. I've even hit 20 in my car pretty regularly on the highway, versus racing, you're pushing like 1. It's worth it. All right, so $16,445 cost of ownership for gas. Routine maintenance, this is from the point of inception now. Did several oil changes. I did transmission fluid change once, or now I'm at 69,000. I think I did it at like 60 something thousand. Changed the differential fluid twice, both the front and the rears. Transfer case fluid twice. I'll get to that in a minute as to why. Did tires, 2 sets of tires. Tires right now are pretty healthy, actually. Probably shouldn't need to change them out for quite a bit of time, but that depends on how often I drag the car, of course. New battery. Get to that in a minute. Put a new battery in the car, 2 new batteries, actually. Brakes, did that, I think, about a year ago with you guys. I'll walk through how to do the entire brake change, from component choosing to fronts, rears, pads, rotors. Now, a quick reminder, when I bought the vehicle, the dealer put on front pads and rear pads for me. The stock rotors were perfectly fine. And then after a while, the rotors were worn down, pads were worn down. I had to swap them out, did a full swap. That was $2,500 for all that stuff. No labor, did it myself. Cabin filter, I think I spent $300 so far on cabin filters. I change them out pretty annually. They are the HEPA rated ones. I have a video on this. Spark plugs, I think I did them just once so far. That's $208. So those are all your routine maintenance costs. A lot of it is just parts only. Actually, all of it is parts only. So just keep in mind, if you're going to a dealer, it's going to be a little more of a premium for that kind of stuff. Car insurance, on average, paid about $110 a month, which is $6,600 over 5 years. So that is a decent cost to keep in mind. Non-routine fixes, things that broke that I had to fix and repair. Carbon fiber dash is one of them. And actually, the dash on the driver's side door, I mean, not the dash, but the carbon fiber trim is actually starting to peel off pretty significantly. So I'll be doing a video on that soon. My car is no longer covered by the extended warranty for some reason. I called several dealerships to make sure, and they actually showed me proof that it wasn't covered by the SRT warranty. That's fun. Anyway, that video is coming up soon. Hood latch sensor, that was years ago, $100. Did some clear coat on the calipers. Chips, I mean, they all do. $50 for some clear coat spray, not a big deal. The passive entry system. So on my door, I had an issue where there was the passive entry was unplugged, and so it wasn't getting a very good connection. This is also years ago, so that was done by a dealership, $150. Couldn't diagnose it yourself. There was just no way. Leaking AC compressor, that I didn't do myself. I was traveling internationally, was going to be gone for 3 weeks, and so you know what, I need AC. It's down here in South Carolina now, it gets hot in the summertime, so I had the dealer do that. It was $642. And then the ABS module. So quick story here. The ABS module went. It wasn't the vehicle's fault, it was my fault. So I have a dash cam in the car, had a dash cam in the car. It was awesome. And when you wire a dash cam, you get 2 options. You can do switched power, meaning when the car turns on, you get power to the device, and when the car turns off, you lose power to it. That's a great option. And this dash cam had a built-in battery, so if the car was parked and it felt a vibration or an impact, it would turn on and start recording. Downside being that when you do that, you don't get any footage before the crash, just from the crash onward. And I wanted constant coverage. And again, it has a built-in battery. The issue was the battery over time goes bad. They all do, and turn into a short. And so provided no buffer whatsoever. So it's constantly pulling down power from the car battery. And when the car sat for 3 weeks at a time, that short drew enough power where it wasn't detectable. It wasn't an average within the average draw of the power for your standby systems in the car, but it killed the battery. And then I would get jumped, and that happened again and again and again, and then it happened in the winter months, destroyed the battery. Anyway, the ABS module got pissed. They wanted to see 12 volts of power or more, and it kept teetering underneath that, so turn on, off, on, off, on, off. Eventually it said, forget it, and it broke. When it does that, you get a bunch of lights on your dash that show you your forward radar collision isn't working, your ABS module light comes on, you get traction control light coming on, and that's all from the ABS module. Now, typically, the ABS module means you have a bad transfer case. The guy at the dealership I brought it to down here in South Carolina mentioned that he's only seen it a handful of times. In this case, it truly was just the communication module. The transfer case was perfectly fine. But when your module goes, your transfer case doesn't work. So you can no longer split power between your front and rear tires, which means when you're making turns in the car, making left and right turns, especially tight radius turns, it can't transfer that power, and you're in permanent four-wheel drive mode. So it actually ends up clinking and clanking underneath you in the transfer case, causing damage. So when this whole thing happened, they couldn't get it apart from me for several months. And I had to drive making the widest turns possible in the car. Long story short, it was just an ABS module. And then I did a fluid change on the transfer case. There was no metal grinds in there or anything like that. So I didn't do any permanent damage as far as I can tell. That was 6 months ago. It's been perfectly fine ever since. So, long story short, you switched power for accessories. Anyway, long story. Back to mods. So, I haven't done any mods in several years. So, I did the 180 T-Stat, the Diablo Trinity Unlocked PCM tune using their 93 octane tune, the Solar Performance exhaust, engine air filter. It's been the K&N one, so it's been phenomenal. And then oil catch can. And that was it. So that was $3,230. Now for the fun part, the total cost of ownership over 5 years. So maintenance, just maintenance stuff, preventive maintenance stuff, nothing that broke. That was $8,979 over 5 years, which is $149 per month just in maintenance. Maintenance plus gas pushes you up to $25,424. Or $423 per month. Maintenance, gas, and insurance, car insurance, of course, pushes us to $32,024 or $533 a month. Then we have maintenance, gas, insurance, and repairs. That brings us to $33,758 or $562 a month. And then all in, maintenance, gas, repairs, mods, updates, you name it. $36,990 or $616.50 per month. So if you're buying an SRT, this is for just a Jeep. I'm assuming they're pretty similar platforms. Expect to pay on top of your loan payment an extra $616 per month set aside for just typical costs in the car. Of course, you can do things with yourself, save some money, buy less performance. Brakes, for example, save quite a bit of money, so it ranges a little bit there. But on average, an extra $616 a month. Now, was it worth it? You know, I asked my wife to join me for this video. I wanted to see her reaction to the total cost of ownership. I'm sure she'd be pissed. But to me, it's definitely worth it. The vehicle's been awesome. It's great in the snow. It's a real lot of fun from a dig. I did try racing a couple of times, just doing pulls, like 50 mile an hour pulls, and then going in the car. It's just so heavy. You're at a huge disadvantage there when it comes to just doing pulls on the thruway or whatever. I mean, at the raceway. But from a dig, it's awesome. You can't beat it. For me, I've gotten used to the power. So it's got 550 roughly horsepower at the crank. It's a lot of fun. It's a real lot of fun. I still throw in track mode, use paddle shifters, it's a blast. But you kind of get used to the power. It doesn't diminish over time, but you just get used to it. And so now I'm looking for that next big step. You know, what's going to be the next increase? Is it going to be getting a sports car that has maybe the same amount of horsepower, a lot less weight? But anyway, thanks for checking out the Straight SRT channel. As always, guys, comment below. Let's get a discussion going.